Recording this trade, well, this potential trade that I'm interested in getting long on. Stopping this right now. VIX looks like it's going to break to the upside. There's potential here that it's going to gap and go. Just pull back a second here. I'm just going to get my orders ready in case it sets up. 5. Alright, so trying to go long here on the VIX now. It is set up properly. Trying to get filled here at 28.15. Let's see if we can get filled on this, as this is a definite runner. While you're waiting for the fill, just explaining the where I think this trade is going to go, just based upon what I'm looking for in the trade. I'm not sure where it's going to go ultimately, but what makes this kind of trade compelling is we have our early bird setup, obviously. At the same time, VIX gapped up today, gapped above the previous days or days ranges, the past 2 sessions. It gapped above that. Now we have here is that we had some consolidation right above the breaks, so this is becoming support now. We have another gap, upside gap at 29.28, and that would make for a very positive risk to reward profile if we can get filled in this trade and it goes in our favor. So just the broader context, the overall market's gapped down this morning about 1.5%, now trading close to -2% down. So as you can see here, we're near the lows of the session right now. And the interesting thing is, this is why I find the Fibonacci grids to be very, very interesting. The other day, last Friday actually, we drew in our Fib grids. So we took the previous range high, and then we drew in the lows, and we projected out the 127.2% extension. And it took several sessions because we had a few inside days, but you can see from today that it opened up and now it's touched that 127.2 extension. So the 161.8 extension is the next likely target. And if we look back at our VIX here for a second, we're going to wait and see if we get filled on this one. Okay, so it is now 9:57. Looking to see if we can get filled on the VIX here at 28.15. Update on VIX, just got filled at 28.15. Stuff goes in at 27.91. Could probably actually get even more aggressive with my stop here at 27.94. That's probably where I'm going to put it actually. Let's just adjust that 27.94. Okay, and let's just do a quick recap of why I took this trade. So VIX gapped up this morning. It is consolidating above the previous day's ranges. So we can see from Monday and Tuesday session we have some resistance there. It's now broken over those levels. It's actually touched the 127.2 extension right here, right now. And at this point here, this is where it has to prove itself, because we're now slightly at 10 o'clock, it's 10:07, and we're hovering around the 30-minute opening range. So this is a fairly significant level of resistance here, but it also can be a spring pad for further action. So I really would want to see the VIX either keep going here, or there's a good likelihood that it can roll over, because once it starts touching the opening range high, it really has to make a move here because right now it's kind of far away from the opening, from the 5-minute moving average. There's this red band here that you see, or the red moving average line. That's the 5-period moving average, and we're a little bit far away. So that it would need some more time for that moving average to catch up, or it has to come back in to meet that moving average to consolidate. So really a couple of scenarios there that are possible. At this point here, I'm just in management mode. Look at the 30-minute time frame. Again, you can see the clear break above recent highs. Really would want to see this thing either consolidate sideways or push immediately to the upside. Otherwise, you probably expect it to roll back down to these levels around the moving averages, just so that it can consolidate the recent gains. Okay, let's take a look at the ES now, just to see how that's playing out. ES is trading near the bottom of its opening range, so again, mirror opposite. But here you can see buyers are stepping in here, right, at the opening range lows. So you see a bit of buying activity there, as you see a longer wick being put in place there. So this could be potentially not great for our trade right now, as it's really we've seen some buyers step up. You can actually see in the 2-minute chart here. We see buyers stepping up right there, leaving a doji candle, strong message bar in the other direction on increased volume. So this is not great, because that means we can see the buyers actually stepping in. So you want to see, ideally, this trend line not get taken out. So if this trend line, I'll just draw it a little more cleanly there. If this trend line gets taken out, then that's really a signal for the buyers that they can even step in harder and kind of squeeze some of the shorts. All right, so 10:09. All right, quick update on the VIX position. Looking at the 2-minute chart, we actually broke out of this flag pattern here just now, but what we're missing is we're missing a bit of conviction, right? So right now we don't see any volume accompanying this kind of breakout. So I think this is not proven yet. So we're still along this position. I really would like to see volume kind of break up over here to see that some buyers are actually stepping into the VIX here, because we're still consolidating at the opening range highs of the day, right? So you can see this is the 15-minute chart again. We have these 2 consolidation bars right at the opening range high, and that's great, right? We don't want to see this bar here get violated, meaning we don't want to see price action break below the lows of this bar, 28.09. So 28.10 is the lows of that. If we hit 28.09, then the position here is not playing out the way we would like to see it play out. So we got to keep our eye on that. On the ES, it's the same thing, right? So the ES, it's consolidating right on the opening range lows here. So ideally, we see this doji get taken out. So that means, we probably saw some buyers buy this because they saw a doji. Now, if the lows of this doji get taken out, so low is 1831.50, then we'll probably see some stops get run, as some buyers have probably rested their stops below those levels. And we'll expect a further push to the downside, which obviously would be very positive for our position. So it looks like, yeah, there we go. 38.50 got taken out. 31.50 got taken out. You can see that quick push there to the downside. Let's quickly take a look at that, right, on the lower time frame. You see that a quick push got taken out. These guys who had these stops right underneath here, they got their stops taken out really quickly there. Most folks tend to put their stops 1 or 2 ticks below some significant levels. That just allows people to run them really quickly. To get those little pops of action there. And so if we take a look back at our VIX now, well, we're now nicely in the plus 1R column, right? So we're at plus 1R now on our trade, but still looking for the buyers to step up here to really show that there's conviction. Okay, 10:22. Another update on the VIX position. So now it's moving in our favor here. You can see the volume is picked up, so we have a spike in volume there. So nice pickup in volume, coincided with buyers stepping in, pushing price action higher. We're getting close to being up plus 2R, so we're 1 penny away from plus 2R. So we'll get ready to move our our stop to par here. So par would be 28.15 is where our entry is, and there it is. So we're now well, it's not quite there yet, so I just one tick away. We expect it to get there. Would expect it to get there. Bigger time frame analysis on the VIX. So we saw again, that price action as we were talking about before, right? Consolidating right at the opening range highs. We did not want to see it break down, right? So it had to come down in and violated the lows of this bar, so it would have had a chance to come back into the moving average there. So instead what's happened is the moving average is not coming up and trying to catch up. So that's very positive. This is it, your classic opening range break play, right? So you could even be getting long here and expecting an extension to the 29.83 level. I'm going to take off some at 29.28 if it gets to that level. I'm going to begin to trail out at that level, 29.28. That would be up around 5.5 R. That's where I would expect this thing to go at some point. If it can make it in a straight line, who knows? Otherwise, I'll just trail using the usual approach, the 251 approach. Back on the ES, I think it's some good lessons here on the ES again, right? So we talked about before, those buyers got in, saw a doji here, they layered their stops beneath. The market, the sellers overwhelmed them. Now we have a push to the downside. So, again, it was all about this battle here at the opening range low. All right, once the opening range low got taken out and it closed below that opening range low, the sellers are clearly in control. So you can see here now that it's extending the run here. So that's kind of what we want to see. Again, had the top here been taken out, again on a lower time frame, that's what it looks like, right? Had this descending trend line been taken out, and had this, that's the doji pattern on the 2-minute chart, had that been taken out to that direction, we would have seen some different thing, a different scenario playing out here. But the fact that it held this, squeezed below, broke below these levels here, that at this point here the sellers are in control. So back to our VIX position, again up plus 2R at this point. And we're going to see if we can get to that gap fill at 29.28, which right now seems very far away, right? It's always this way, where you look at it and like, wow, that seems like it's far away, but right now the market's kind of selling off. We're down minus 2.6 right now percent on the ES, 2.3 on the YM, and VIX is looking pretty strong. So we'll see where the day takes us. 10:38. Another update on the VIX trade. We're now up roughly 4.5 R, so now move the stop to plus 2. So regardless what happens, we're going to close out the position at plus 2 R on this trade, so great trade. The 29.28 level doesn't look that far away anymore. If you recall, probably about half an hour ago, whenever I made that first comment, I jokingly said, it always looks so far away when you first get into a position, especially when the market's moving like this. It looks so far away. But now, we got close to 29.14, which is our plus 5 R level. We got as high as 29.10, and that's only another 18 cents away. So let's just continue to trail our stops here, manage our risk. If you take a look at the broader time frame, give the chart a few moments to catch up here. This is very productive, right? So we have this classic pattern, opening range breaks out. We expect to see this guy. That would be the expectation for that gap fill. If it doesn't gap fill, then we're going to see it pull back in, consolidate. On the ES, we're hovering near the lows of the session. So currently, again, we broke through the low, broke through the opening range low. We're hovering near the lows of the session. We really need to see some buyers step up here. Otherwise, we're going to see a push lower. I think we'd, I want to see it kind of flush out some people before it consolidates a bit more. I think there's still room for it to push down here. So I don't think all the selling's done yet, and we're still early in the day. So let's keep our eye on it and see how it plays out. 11 o'clock. Update on the VIX trade. Stopped out for plus 2R at 28.54. We saw that nice run up in buying, got up to +4 there, and then we got met by sellers. So the trend up is still there. So we expect now to see some consolidation. As you can see here on the higher time frame, it got a bit extended again from the 5 period moving average, right? So it's a little far away. We'll have to come in here, base a bit around that level in the 5 period, and then if some more strength shows up, then I think there's still the ability for it to go up and hit 29, 28. But that was the easy move here, catching this first little bump up out of this opening range break. Caught +2R on that. Obviously you could have squeezed more and try to trail more aggressively, but I was looking for a bigger price target. Okay, so that's now 11.13. Just then a quick review on the ES. Okay, the higher time frame. Again, basically the exact mirror opposite. We had a wide push down. We have some big resistance, or some wide disparity between the actual bar and the moving average. So it shows me that we're getting a little bit carried away, and now the buyers have stepped in to do some mean reversion. So in order for this thing to turn around, it's still quite a bit of work left to do. So the bias and trend is still to the downside until proven otherwise. 11.14.